What's going on, friends and family? Thank you guys so much for tuning into Every Day's a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey guys, another day and another great interview. Well, not an interview, but episode. Hopefully I'll be able to get through my words today here. My gosh. But hey guys, I would just like to thank you guys, each and every one of you guys, for taking the time to watch the show. We got voted as 2023 number 3 best veteran podcast by FeedSpot. Quite surprising. I was not expecting that whatsoever, but very blessed and very humble to have got that. But I really couldn't have done it without all of you guys supporting the podcast, liking it, listening to it, sharing it out. If you guys just continue to do that, hey, maybe we can get that number 1 spot. But I can't do it without you guys, and that is for sure. And I got to thank each and every one of you guys again for making this come true for me, and me able to accomplish goals that I didn't even know I had until I started getting into this. So I got to say, I am really enjoying being a podcaster. It is a lot of fun. And if any of you guys are interested in ever doing it yourself, hey, shoot me an email. If you even want to talk to me, shoot me an email as well. I got stickers I'm willing to give for free. If you guys email me your address, I'll send you some free stickers and maybe a little thank you card for being a watcher or a listener, however you guys are checking out the show. And don't forget, if you guys are watching this or listening to this on Spotify, there is little questions at the end you guys can answer just to get engaged and have some fun. If you guys please would engage on those, that would be awesome. And like I said, it's a little fun for all of us to have a little bit of some question and answers. All right, so we're going to keep doing this true crime military edition. This next guy right here is Robert Lee Yates. He is known as the grocery bag killer. He was born May 27th, 1952. And his branch of service was the Army. He killed 16 plus victims and is currently serving life in Washington State Penitentiary. And his killing span was from 1975 to 1998. He is known to have murdered at least 11 women in Spokane and has also confessed to 2 murders committed in Walla Walla in 1975 and a 1988 murder committed in Skagit County. All right, so this guy right here is kind of interesting because I don't think we've had anybody that was a career military, did a career in military and still went out and committed murder. Robert Lee Yates, he did 20 plus years, had a family. He was a family man, daughters and everything. Towards the end, we're going to show a interview with his 2 daughters, and kind of things they experienced even as kids. I mean, he wasn't very discreet, I would say, in terms of the way he handled his business. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to go ahead and check out his earlier years. Made a little video for that, so let's go ahead and check out his early years. Robert Lee Yates was born on May 27th, 1952. And grew up in Oak Harbor, Washington, in a middle-class family. They attended a local Seventh-day Adventist church. Before his birth, his grandmother had murdered his grandfather with an axe in 1945. Yates graduated from Oak Harbor High School in 1970. In 1975, he was hired by Washington State Department of Corrections to work as a correctional officer at Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. In October 1977, Yates enlisted in the United States Army, where he became certified to fly civilian transport airplanes and helicopters. Yates was stationed in various countries outside the continental United States, including Germany, and later Somalia and Haiti during the United Nations peacekeeping missions of the 1990s. Yates also served 3 years in the Army National Guard as a helicopter pilot from April 1997 through April 2000. He earned several commendations and service medals during his military career, including the U.S. Army Master Aviator Badge. Yates left active duty Army in April of 1996, apparently a year and a half short of being eligible for his full retirement benefits and pension. At this time, the military was reducing its numbers, so he received full retirement despite being short of the customary 20 years served. He then joined the Army National Guard in April of 97 and served 3 years until his arrest in April of 2000. He served a total of 21 and a half years in the United States Army. So as you can see, he spent a long time in the Army, and I believe he was committing murders during the time that he was in the Army. And that's kind of the speculation is to why he actually left the Army a little early before his actual retirement was due to the fact that he had probably committed a murder somewhere around that area and was trying to get out of there because to leave when you were getting ready to have a full retirement, that was just kind of out of character. But let's go ahead and start getting into his murders and his victims, and let's see how heinous of crimes this guy was. Robert Lee Yates committed his first murders in 1975 when he shot and killed 2 college students who were picnicking. Many of his subsequent victims were sex workers working along East Sprague Avenue who had substance abuse issues, and Yates would often do drugs with them and other sex workers. Yates initially solicited the victims. After having sex with them, often in his Ford van, he would kill them and dump their bodies in rural locations. All of his victims died of gunshot wounds to the head or heart. 8 of the murders were committed with a Raven 25 caliber handgun, and 1 attempted murder was linked to the same model of handgun. On September 19, 1998, Yates was asked to give a DNA sample to Spokane police after being stopped. He refused, stating that it was too extreme of a request for a family man. Here are Robert Lee Yates' victims. Patrick Oliver and Susan Savage were both killed July 14, 1975. Stacy Hahn, December 28, 1988. Shannon Zielinski, June 14, 1996. Heather Hernandez and Jennifer Joseph, both August 26, 1997. Darla Scott, November 5th, 1997. Melinda Lee Mercer, December 7th, 1997. Sean Johnson, December 18th, 1997. Sean McClanahan and Lori Wason, December 26, 1997. Sonny Oster, February 8th, 1998. Linda Mabin, April 1st, 1998. Melody Murfin, May 12th, 1998. Michelin Deming, July 7th, 1998. Connie Lynn Alice LaFontaine, October 13th, 1998. All right, so Robert Lee Yates was another one of our serial killers that tended to prey on women that were kind of down on their luck, seeking out drugs and prostitution, and probably were disconnected with their families and stuff like that. So he preyed upon those type of women. There was a couple males in there that just so happened to be with a female companion, but other than that, he pretty much seeked and preyed upon women that were into drugs and prostitution. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get into the conviction and see how that all played out. Yates was arrested on April 18th, 2000 for the murder of Jennifer Joseph After his arrest, a search warrant was executed on a white 1977 Chevy Corvette that he had previously owned. A white Corvette had been identified as the vehicle in which one of the victims had been last seen. Coincidentally, Yates had been pulled over in the vehicle while the task force was searching for it, but the field interview report was misread as saying Camaro, not Corvette. Thus, the incident was not realized until after Yates had been arrested. After searching the Corvette, police discovered blood that they linked to Jennifer Joseph and DNA from Yates that they then tied to 12 other victims. In 2000, he was charged with 13 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder in Spokane County Superior Court as part of a plea bargain. Yates confessed to the murders to avoid the death penalty. He was sentenced to 408 years in prison. Charges were dropped without prejudice in the murder of Sean McClanahan so that if Yates appealed his other guilty sentences, he could be tried for murder and possibly sentenced to death. Following his sentencing hearing, Yates made a statement apologizing to the families of all the victims he had killed. In 2001, Yates was charged in Pierce County, Washington, with murders of 2 additional women. The prosecution sought the death penalty for the deaths of Melinda L. Mercer in 1997 and Connie Ellis in 1998, which were thought to be linked to the killings in Spokane County. On September 19, 2002, Yates was convicted of those murders and subsequently sentenced to death by lethal injection on October 3, 2002. All right, so Robert Lee Yates basically gets, kind of lucky. I don't know, lucky, unlucky, whatever. But Washington State kind of was going through a little bit of some problems in terms of the laws and the way that there was a gentleman that did not want the lethal injection to be used, so he wasn't going to sign anybody to be killed. So Robert Lee Yates kind of got dodged a bullet. Otherwise, he probably would be already killed or waiting death row. But as of right now, that's not the case. We're going to go ahead and listen as he goes through the appeal process as well. So here we go with the appeal process. In 2002, death sentence was appealed on grounds that Yates believed his 2000 plea bargain to be all-encompassing and that the life sentence for 13 murders and a death sentence for 2 constituted disproportionate, freakish, wanton, and random application of the death penalty. The arguments were rejected in 2007 by the Washington Supreme Court. A September 19, 2008 execution date was stayed by Chief Justice Jerry L. Alexander, pending additional appeals. In 2013, Yates' attorneys filed a habeas corpus petition in federal district court, stating that Yates is mentally ill and, through no fault of his own, suffers from a severe paraphiliac disorder that predisposed him to commit murder. The still pending motion is regarded as a long shot, but most observers, I don't think Mr. Yates helps his cause by relying on the fact that he's necrophiliac, said Pierce County prosecution Mark Lindquist. Yates remains incarcerated at the Washington State Penitentiary. His case was further complicated by Washington Governor Jay Inslee's 2013 declaration that he would not sign death warrants for anyone on death row while he's in office. Inslee incited the high cost of the appeals process, the randomness with which sentences are sought, and lack of evidence that penalty serves as a deterrent to other criminals. In July 2015, the Washington Supreme Court once again rejected an effort by Yates to overturn his conviction and death sentence. After the Washington State Supreme Court ruled in the 2018 that the death penalty violated the state constitution, Yates' death sentence, as well as that of Washington's other death row inmates, was commuted to life in prison without a possibility of parole. So as you can see, he is going to be spending the rest of his life behind bars. Will never see the light of day again. As a family member, I do wonder how they struggle with it. I mean, in a way, him, not being executed, he's got to live with the conscientiousness of what he's done. He's got to go through the nightmares day in, day out. Imagine that He's constantly fighting for his life unless he's probably on some kind of isolated protection program. He's probably not with anybody, any cellies or anything like that. But um, he still gets to eat. He still gets to, breathe air and be alive. So I don't know, as a family member, I'd never been through something like that. I don't know, in some ways, I wish if it was to happen to me, I could be the one to execute him type deal. So I know I'm sure as a family member, they just got to be torn by emotions and torn in different directions. I imagine some of them would want him to be done, and then some of them are like, "No, let him suffer for the rest of his life and think about all the things that he's done." Now, unfortunately for this guy, Robert Lee Yates, he had a family, and leaves behind 2 daughters, and of course, they gotta sift through all this crap, as the daughters of Robert Lee Yates. They're, pretty well known. They've been on a couple interviews as we're gonna go through and show one. But, you know, it's gotta be rough for them as well, and I did see that they sat down, with one of the victim's sisters, and that, having to be face to face with someone who actually lost their sibling to your father, I can't imagine how that interaction, was. But, let's go ahead and check out, this interview with the daughters. It was, uh, done by LMN. So I have no credit of this. I just am showing it, and, we're gonna go ahead and check out this interview.
As the body count mounts, Yates finds it more difficult to hide his killing spree from his family.
Remember when he came home that night and he said he hit a dog and there was blood all over the back of the van?
Yeah, I remember asking him about it. I was like, what happened there? I accidentally ran into a dog and I had to set it on the back of, there was a fold out bed and I had to set it there and take it to the vet.
I mean, you saw the blood.
I saw the blood.
Now, how devastating is that, you know? Um, he was doing stuff right in front of his little girls, and they were witnessing and seeing some of this stuff, and, he's sitting there, blaming it on, being from an animal, but my gosh, how crazy. And then for them to find out all along what it was.
Blood, the stain.
It was on the
Excuse me.
back of the van, in the back seat of the van.
I'm sorry, but I'm feeling kind of woozy. Can I sit down?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's a horrific memory that you had.
I just turned around in the middle, one of the middle chairs that were in the van, and I was like, what's that spot from? And that's what his excuse was about the dog getting hurt, and it was really bloody. That's what he told me. And he said, I just couldn't get all the blood out. I tried, and it still stains. It's good. And I remember the smell, too. I remember the nasty, there was a smell.
Did that stain stay there after that day?
It didn't go away. It was just permanently on that. To know I was right there where he had laid a body, it was just, disturbing. We've even seen like a billboard sign. My dad was driving, my mom was in the car, and she said, man, I hope they get that, son of a gun, for doing that. That's just sick. And my dad was right there driving. I just looked at the sign and I shook my head. I'm like, how could someone kill all those women?
Wow. So as you can see, how crazy is that? He's sitting here trying to live dual lives basically. He's trying to, maintain a family life, military man, and he's out here slaying. He's got daughters, he's got daughters. So this guy has to be one sick individual, no conscience whatsoever, to do such heinous crimes. I mean, what a sad situation for his daughters. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys, for episode 5. But before we head out, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about Hero Stock 2024. It is a family-friendly event. There's going to be multiple bands, cornhole tournaments, food, alcohol, activities for all ages, lots of nonprofit vendors. So here's some of the dates, and these are tentative dates, but this is what they got going on. June 29th, Rolla, Missouri, July 12th through the 13th, Harlan County Reservoir, Nebraska, August 9th through the 10th, Nashville, Tennessee, September 13th through the 14th, Ashland, Nebraska. And you know what? That's the one I'll be at. So if you guys want to meet me, come on out to Nebraska, because I'm going to fly out from California. And why? Because it is such a good time. I went there 2023 and I had an amazing time. And it's one of those type of events you're not going to want to miss. And I'll always fly out of California to go to good old Nebraska for this event. So go check out Hero Stock. They also have a Facebook page. Go check out their Facebook page and all that good stuff. And you know what? That's going to do it for today. And I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. And remember, if you're not out there kicking its ass, make sure you are. Go out there and slay the day. Let's go. Till next time.